Hello everybody, my name is David Hernandez and today we are going to talk about how to develop a class plan for teens related to the topic of present perfect. The first thing that you gotta keep in mind is the agenda. Sometimes the kids are really desperate, really eager to know what you're going to do with them in the class, so it's actually very healthy to have the agenda written on the board before you start a class. This is an example of the agenda for this class. Take a look. As you can see, we are describing that we are going to make a warm-up, the introduction and the explanation of the present perfect. We are also going to have time for practice, and then we are going to assign production tasks, and finally the homework. The warm-up activity that I suggest is called the blind one. You are going to organize the classroom, as you can see, one chair facing away from the board and the other chairs in front. After that, you are going to write a question on the board that has a blank space. How often do you? The person sitting in front is going to have to answer to that question without knowing what the question is. You are going to have a volunteer come to the front, write the verb on the blank space, and the other person has to answer with frequency adverbs. Never, usually, often, and then they are going to have some funny reactions. Imagine that one of your volunteers write on the board, how often do you brush your teeth? The person sitting on the chair is going to answer, for example, never. That's going to cause a hilarious reaction among the kids because it is supposed that this person never brushes his teeth. Okay, on the step of the introduction and explanation of the topic, you might take around 20 minutes. That's more than enough to take care of all the details regarding the grammar structure and the examples that you might have. I suggest you to study well the topic beforehand so you can cover the possible questions that may come out during the class time. When you are explaining the details and the grammar structure of the present perfect, it is very important that you cover the contractions as well, so they can understand that for spoken English, this is a very important thing to know. Now, moving on to the step of practice, you are going to present the video that I have on the screen to the students. I will leave the link of that video on the description of this material. After you play it, you will ask the students to repeat some of the sentences that they have heard. If they repeat them correctly, you are going to give them congratulations. If they do wrong, you are going to suggest some corrections, and then everything will be fine. For the second part of the practice, I designed this worksheet. It's called I Bet You Don't Know Your Classmates. It's composed by 7 questions using the present perfect, and then they have on the bottom part some circles they have to fill out with the information they collect. They will make the questions to 10 classmates, and then they are going to fill out the circles with the statistic information and then color the circles to have a very beautiful graphic. Then they will compare and analyze the information they got with their classmates to see the differences. Questions are like, have you been out of the country? Have you met a celebrity? Have you ever eaten insects? Have you ever cooked, etc.? Those questions will allow them to use and apply the structures of the present perfect, but also they will help them to learn a little bit more about their classmates. Now, moving on to the production step of the plan, you are going to play the video that I have on the back. I also left the link for that on the description. Then, after you play it several times, you are going to ask the students to make groups of 3 people and create questions that are similar to the ones they see on this game. It's a game called Have I Ever? Then they gotta play the role. One is gonna be the interviewer, the other two are gonna be the guests. They have to play the game and in front of the classroom, and you will decide what grade you can assign them. I suggest the evaluation is qualitative, focusing on the competence and not only on the number. Okay guys, now moving on to the homework assigning moment of the class, I suggest you to use the page that I have in my back. It's called Lyrics Training. Lyricstraining.com is a very useful web page where the students can practice filling out the lyrics of their favorite songs. The materials they can find here are really current. They are hot in fashion, and they have a very high possibility to cause a huge impact on the meaningful learning of our students. They can play as many times as they want at home, and they can bring a screenshot of their results in their songs they chose to see if the scores match a high performance. If they do, you can assign a grade or you can give positive feedback.